Before we do work, we want to make sure that that work is safe. We don't want to make changes directly on master because we don't want to risk sending untested code to other users. We'll need to create a branch to hold this new work. So we'll create a branch and call it feature. When we create a branch, it is created at a specific commit, in this case the head of master, the 4 of spades. Darial adds a method to the Baz class, adds the file to the index, and commits. Because we're working on the feature branch, its reference is updated instead of master. Set these cards aside, we'll need them later, but don't add them to your deck just yet because Kaylee hasn't fetched from Darial. Next, he adds a property to the class. Let's take a look at the history of the project now. Once the changes to Baz on feature are tested, Darial is ready to merge it into the master branch. So let's check out the master branch and merge the feature branch into it. Git will perform one of the two most common types of merges, a fast-forward merge. It uses this strategy when the head of the current branch is a direct ancestor of the branch being merged in. There isn't even a need to look at the contents of the commits. We know that there will be no conflicts, so we can just update the head of the master branch to the same commit as the incoming branch. While Darial has been making changes, Kaylee is also working in her copy of the repo. She creates a branch and starts to work on the foo class. Go ahead and add these cards to your deck as she works. She adds a method to foo, then adds a property, and finally updates a constant. Once she's tested everything, she's ready to merge her new feature into master. Before she merges, she wants to make sure she has the latest copy of the master branch, so she fetches from Darial's repo again. All of the new objects that Darial added are now added to her repo, and her remote reference to master is updated. At this point, you can add those cards we set aside to your deck. Now knowing that Darial has made changes to the master branch, it's a good idea for Kaylee to merge the master branch into her branch to test before committing to master. From her feature branch, she's going to merge in the original version of the master branch. Because the 6 of diamonds is not a direct ancestor of the ace of clubs, this is going to use another common merge strategy, the 3-way merge. It's called a 3-way merge because Git is going to use 3 points in the tree as the basis for the merge: the head of the source branch, the head of the destination branch, and their closest common ancestor, called the merge base. To perform the merge, we'll need to find the differences between the 3 points. We'll start with the tree at the merge base. Then we'll look at the destination branch and calculate the diff. Here we've marked the modified objects in yellow. Next, we'll look at the source branch and calculate the diff. Here we've marked files modified in both diffs in red. Anything that's unchanged or has only changed in one of the 2 diffs is safe to merge. And because none of our blobs have been modified, all we have to do is reindex the tree and make our commit. Now let's take a look at our history again. After testing to make sure that there are no unexpected side effects of the merge, we can check out the master branch and safely merge the feature branch using the fast-forward strategy. Now that our local copy of master is updated, we can safely push our updates to the server. I'd again like to pause to note a couple of things. A commit with more than one parent indicates that there was a merge that took place at that point, but the 2 sides of that merge are no longer considered separate branches. Both Darial and Kaylee's commits are now considered part of master. Back in Darial's repo, master has been updated, and another member of the team is about to start working on the project. Hoban has picked up a task on the project and has cloned Darial's repo. If you're playing at home, assume the role of Hoban. He needs a place to work, so he'll create a branch. He adds a method to Baz and makes his commit. While he's getting his feature working, another member of the team clones the repo from Darial and makes a couple of small changes. Zoe creates a branch, updates a constant in Baz, and adds a method to bar. She merges her feature branch into master using the fast-forward strategy and pushes her changes back to Darial. Back over at Hoban's desk, he's finished his testing and is ready to merge his branch into master, so he fetches from origin to make sure he's up to date before merging. He'll need to merge the changes in from master, so he'll need to find the source commit, the destination commit, and the merge base so he can do a 3-way merge. Starting with the merge base, he'll look for changes in the destination branch, then for changes in the source branch. He discovers that there is a conflict in the BAS file. Git will automatically calculate the patches and look to see if they overlap. If they don't overlap, it can handle the merge automatically. If they do overlap, the merge will require human intervention. Conflicts that require human intervention are relatively rare, but the outcome is the same. Whether automatically or with manual intervention from the user, a new file is created that represents the changes from both branches and is added to the index. This file will be hashed as a blob, and the commit will continue normally. Depending on the branching strategy your team chooses to use, there is another option available to you when merging a branch, called rebase. Let's reset Hoban's feature back to before the merge by changing the hash in the feature branch file. The 8 of spades is no longer in the tree of any branch in the repo. It will hang out in the database for a while in case you want to undo the reset, but will eventually be garbage collected automatically. To rebase the branch onto master, we're essentially rewriting history. The goal is to have a single line of development in the history by having each branch start from the head of master at the previous merge. To accomplish this, Git will start from the merge base and work its way up to the head, calculating the diff and creating a patch for each commit. Here, only one patch will be created from the diff between the 4 of clubs and the jack of hearts. Each patch will then be applied as a new commit starting from the head of the branch you're rebasing onto, in this case master. So this new patch will be applied to the 3 of clubs. It is worth noting that the tree of this new commit and the tree of the merge we did earlier have the same hash. So we know that the result of a merge or a rebase produced the exact same code base down to the bit. The feature branch is now updated to reference the new commit, and the commits on the original branch will also eventually be garbage collected. Now all that remains is to test and then merge the feature into master, which can now use the fast forward strategy, and finally push the master branch back up to Dorile. Take a moment to gather up your cards and get them in order. As a final review, we're going to have a small pop quiz. I'm going to name a commit in the repo, and you have 2 tasks. 1. Starting from that commit, construct its entire history back to the initial commit. And 2. Locate its tree and build the working directory out of the trees and blobs in the database. Your starting point is the Jack of Hearts. I want to thank you for participating, and I hope that seeing how the magic happens has made Git's internal workings a lot less mysterious for you. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to contact me. Go ahead and pause the video here to finish the quiz, and when you come back, we can go over the answer. Welcome back. Let's start with the history. From the Jack of Hearts, the history looks like this. The only card that is not shown here is the initial commit, the Queen of Hearts, which is just to the left of the 4 of spades. Finally, the tree of the Jack of Hearts commit, which is the Jack of Spades tree. The entire file system is shown here.